Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some pretty big news when it comes to EA and everything as a whole. Now, as you guys probably know, EA is one of the more bigger companies out there, and we even saw some big news even this week when it comes to Battlefield 2042 finally being done. But we've also seen them be a part of a lot of really big, iconic other outside series, such as things like Star Wars, such as things like, let's say, Dead Space, and a lot of other various games and IPs out there. And of course, when it comes to EA as a whole, it's a somewhat middle-tier respected company, more so because they've made so many different games, but they're kind of also known for, at least back in the day, some really bad business decisions when it comes to how they handle microtransactions, how they dealt with certain games, and how they kind of had a lot of greed going on. But right now, we're now seeing a few big things when it comes to EA as a whole. Number one is there's been a lot of really big leaks and rumors when it regards around Dead Space, and how apparently the first Dead Space remake game didn't sell so well. And of course, as well, I myself even played it and also kind of enjoyed it. And how there is also maybe news for them completely switching up their entire company, such as them now switching to completely different games off of games such as Dead Space and being canceled, and as well also even more big price increases coming out to their subscription service. So you have a lot of kind of big things going on over here in the gaming sphere when it comes to prices and all that. So if you guys will sit back, relax, and enjoy. And make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We do have the Twitter and Twitch room down below if you guys want to follow. And of course, for now, the internet as a whole has been all over the place, especially even right now. We kind of cover and talk about where Ubisoft also has a huge, insane price point increase for some of the games, and people are not really happy with that too as well, and all the other various smaller pieces and aspects of it. So first and foremost, let's go talk about the kind of bigger drama. We're right over here. EA is actually now apparently raising the price of their subscription service. So this is basically going over here from the annual fee rising to $39.99, while the pro version is now up to $120. And this is one of those things where the pro version actually is somewhat worthwhile. If I remember correctly, there has also been like a weird, like sometimes 10-hour issue where you basically go play games for like a weird, like trial system. Like you basically pay some money, you get to play the game for 10 hours, and then after that you're kind of done. You have to either be done with the game or move on. Some games that's fine to do it, like you check out the game, see if you like it, see if you beat it, and then sometimes, well, it's been on the weirder side. But this is a big drama because people do not like price increases. They've also been seeing some price increase drama when it comes to obviously Amazon, where they added more ads and also had different tiers. Netflix with their ever increasing subscription prices. Game Pass not too long ago also increased the price point. PS Plus. Like a lot of things are also obviously infected by inflation and just general cost of living, which I don't always fully agree with, but we did have the CPI report come out as of today where it actually did have a 3.5% interest rate, so it kind of makes sense. We're dealing with inflation almost everywhere, and I'm sure you guys feel that. But we even feel it even more right now from scummier players where EA has gotten worse, where the standard EA Play tier will increase from $4.99 a month, or like £4, to now $6 a month, or £6 too. So basically even a bigger thing over there for the Europeans, with the annual fee rising from $30 to, and also $19.99 to $40 to $36 too as well. So European people got a bigger hit, but Americans are still feeling this too on top of that. And then the EA Play Pro subscription, which gives users extra in-game rewards and perks, as well as access to all the publishers' latest games as soon as they launch, which is still kind of a nice deal. But at the same time, the price increase does kind of, well, suck. Mainly for me, I do like the value of it. Like, so if it's like a $15 value for me to go check out a $60 or $70 game day one and have unlimited access to it, I can kind of justify it. When it starts getting up to like $17 plus tax, like $17.50, it gets more to the point where I'd rather just maybe buy the game. And at the same time, if it's a mediocre game, like a mid-tier game, I'm not fully sure if I'd want to play or not. Let's say, for example, the newest Star Wars, because Ubisoft has a very similar format. Like brand new games come out, you can play in the pro versions or their normal subscription services, and you get to play it day one. Like, but at a certain point, if it's $18 and the game itself is $60, $70, I'd probably just rather just maybe buy the game. And if the game's mediocre, I'd probably just even say like sometimes $20 is too much money. You have to worry about canceling the subscription, which is not too hard, and everything else. It just doesn't really seem that worthwhile. And it also does the annual membership price up to $120, but for I think a lot of these types of things like EA or Ubisoft, I don't think that many people are usually doing that. So an email detailing the changes is being issued to subscribers as of today. So that's why people are talking about it. It's when the effect that all these brand new price points will be coming into effect as of May 10th of 2024. And like I said, we've seen Sony go do this for PS Plus, Disney services, Amazon services multiple times, Netflix. Like pretty much everything is just getting way more expensive. So obviously people are not a fan of this. People don't like this. We don't want to have to deal with more extra price points. But also leads into more bigger issues where what other games they have out there that people are hyped up for. Because right now Dead Space apparently had some way bigger news. This over here from Bloomberg. Also all regards to EA as well, where the Dead Space franchise is officially now on hold, which kind of stinks. I actually really did enjoy the Dead Space 1 remake. I enjoyed the game, I enjoyed the vibe, and it was a fun experience. I enjoyed the old school games too. I enjoyed 1 and 2, never really enjoyed 3, and I do think if they ever made a new Dead Space, like brand new story or just different characters, or as well also did go make a remake for 2, I would have bought it. I did buy the first one. I spoke with my wallet, and it makes me sad because it seems like they're now trying to focus on different games. So once again, they're not really like, I guess maybe for financials or whatever it might be, but they're not really listening to the gaming audience. So Electronic Arts put the Dead Space series on ice for the second time, despite the release of a critically acclaimed remake last year that appeared to give new life to the troubled video game franchise. And if you guys did go check out the game or played it, let me know if you guys did like it, because I enjoyed it. Like, I thought it was good. It was good graphics, good gameplay, kind of gave me a lot of nostalgia. Like, they did do a little bit of a twist on it from what I remember. Like, it was fun. So although news of the sci-fi horror series was shelved came out this week, EA made the decision as early as last spring, according to people familiar with the project. So hopes for a new Dead Space game at EA were derailed after sales of the remake missed the company's expectations, said the people who asked not to be identified because they weren't authorized to even speak publicly. So these big leaks are basically calling out EA that they're just kind of more money hungry. Like, yeah, you're not going to go get the cool games because people like were curious on what's going on. Like, if they would have guaranteed Dead Space 2, maybe they sold bundles. Like, there's other things you could do to go make money besides release the game and stop. That also did have a big correspondence issue with the Callisto project. So it just was like a weird game, but it still did. I think it's apparently sold over 1 million copies. So after finishing the Dead Space remake, which was released in January 2023, a small team at the EA subsidiary Motive spent a few months conceiving ideas for the next entry in the series, said the people. But those people were never given a green light and then fizzled out before it could get very far. Since last summer, that team has instead been exploring other ideas, while the bulk of the developers who worked on Dead Space just had to move to separate projects. And this is where some people are saying they're going to be just doing other games. More maybe like those big games that are expected to make money, but maybe EA is just having issues with Battlefield. They are now announcing a brand new Battlefield 2 as well, and they're phasing out Battlefield 2042, which I will still stand by. I was actually a weirdo, though. I kind of liked Battlefield 2042. Now, did I keep on playing the game? No. So am I a part of the problem for why the game kind of fizzled out? Yes, it was part of my fault. But I did like it. I played it a little bit longer than most people did, and I enjoyed the game experience as a whole. Like, it was fun. I enjoyed it. But basically, these plans were basically never given green lights, and everyone kind of didn't have a chance to keep on pushing for Dead Space. So the Giant Bomb YouTube channel suggested that Wednesday that Motive had been developing a remake of Dead Space 2 that was shelved as well. So EA, based on Redwood City, California, denied the report of that work, telling the gaming site IGN, "We don't normally comment on rumors, but there is no validity to this story." An EA spokesperson declined to comment further to Bloomberg. The series, introduced in 2008, was received well by fans, but never turned to a blockbuster that management envisioned. Following the disappointment of 2023's Dead Space 3, which I do agree that game was trash, it was, well, rough. So they basically are saying they're working, though, on these 2 other games, a previously announced Iron Man project, as well as the brand new Battlefield, which left the fate of the sci-fi horror series now in question. And this kind of leads towards, once again, like, I understand it may not be the biggest IP, but people liked it. I liked it myself, like, speaking on my own behalf. And now I do think Battlefield will probably make a lot more money, whether it's from microtransactions, battle passes, or just people buying the game as a whole, or as well maybe even more EA people playing on the subscription service, which would make sense. But sadly, like, this is kind of them just not listening to their fans. Like, these leaks, in my opinion, are kind of rough. Mainly because they're saying, like, hey, like, we don't care. Like, we didn't make as much money. We're not making a new game, which probably would have sold better because, you have 4 games underneath the series and Callisto Project. And obviously, if the first Dead Space remake sold over 1 million copies, there is at least a baseline interest in the game. Now, maybe they were expecting 3, 4, 5, 10 million. Not really sure exactly how much. Or maybe just try to go beat the first game. But you also have to remember this game was only introduced back in 2008. And that does seem like a long time, maybe as of this current moment. But at the same time, like, if you were making all these other games, such as like Dead Space 2 and 3, like it's still the similar vibe, and it didn't really change the game too much, and it was a remake, and it wasn't a crazy big game at the initial start compared to like say like Final Fantasy 7. So like you kind of have to set your expectations as a whole. But I'm just really sad that they are number one raising prices, and number two the fact of like they're kind of giving up on these games. So I'm gonna hear your thoughts on all this down below, because I still think EA has gotten better, but it's still been on the scummy side, and they got to figure their stuff out. We have the Twitter and Twitch down below if you guys want to follow. I appreciate you guys all for watching. I'll talk to you guys all very, 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 very soon.